Welcome to Let's Be Love. This is your girl V, and today I just want to share my thoughts for a minute. On Let's Be Love, I always want to talk about LGBT plus issues, dating challenges, as well as successful long-term relationships. But recently, as I've started to reach out to people on social media, I have encountered some people, particularly women, who have had really challenging and actually dangerous relationships. I didn't think I would have to cover this topic too much, but it's necessary. So I think we need to talk about the unhealthy relationships and domestic violence and mental health. I have done one video that was called Sexuality and Mentality, where a young lady shared that as she was battling with her sexuality and depression, she ended up dropping out of college. But we haven't discussed those unhealthy behaviors in relationships. So this last female that I spoke to, she's 35 with 2 kids. In her last relationship, they were together for 4 years. The first 3 years were good. In the 4th year, her girlfriend started drinking excessively, and she became violent. And in the last 3 months of their relationship, the girlfriend actually stabbed her in her thigh. She didn't want to share her story with the world, but I have heard of more and more people that, the police has been involved in their relationship, or the domestic violence has gotten to a point that if the police were not called in, then it was definitely almost a life or death situation. And so I think at this point, it's important to discuss the fact that it's hard being LGBT plus. And when you're battling with your own sexuality and the stressors that come along with that, and then you add to that the fact that you may or may not have family support, and then you enter into a relationship and you have another person who may also be going through the same things. If the two of you are not in a healthy place, if you don't seek counseling, if you don't do what's necessary to make sure that you don't bring all of that negativity into your relationship, if you don't do those things, then it's like a volcano waiting to erupt. So I want to reach out to some therapists and talk about mental health a little bit more within the LGBT plus community. For anyone who is bold enough to share their story, please reach out to me through Let's Be Love on YouTube. If you go to the YouTube page, there's a link where you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. So Instagram is Let's Be Love, that's LEZ_B_LUV. And on Facebook, it's The Truth is the Light, Let's Be Love. I'd love to hear from you. And definitely these are conversations that we need to have, because no healing occurs in darkness and in silence.
Domestic violence in same-sex relationships.
And we're also questioning whether more could have been done to save the victim's life. CBS 46's Brittany Miller joins us in studio. And Brittany, this is a topic that is rarely discussed, but it's real.
Yeah, and I sat down with the victim of domestic violence today, a counselor and a community activist. All of them said the same thing. They really emphasize the silence that surrounds homosexual stories of domestic violence. And tonight, they are sharing their truths, all in hopes of saving someone else. For years, renowned author J.L. King suffered in silence.
The day I did the Oprah show, he was in the audience, and he sat there, he looked at me the entire time like, come on, look you up.
As he introduced the world to the subculture of the down low, he says his boyfriend was beating him up.
One night he came home, and he was upset because of something I had done or said, and he took a baseball bat and hit me across the head with it.
King says his abusive partner threatened to kill him.
And I didn't say anything for years. This is the first time I really had talked about it.
It's after he heard Dunwoody teacher Roy McClendon Thompson allegedly shot and killed his boyfriend, James Curtis Jones. Police say that relationship became violent over alleged infidelity.
26% of gay men are either stalked, raped, or physically abused by an intimate partner.
Counselor Roderick Watkins and activist Anthony Antoine says fear keeps victims silent. Fear of what others will think, fear of looking weak.
It's two men. It's two men. You should be able to protect yourself.
And fear of police.
As a black man, I just immediately, I'm triggered by any interaction with police.
But in this case, Jones reportedly called police before he was shot and killed.
The fact that you have two men, it would not be treated with the same ferocity as maybe if it was a heterosexual relationship.
All three believe police need additional training to get rid of any homophobic stigmas.
So I think if they go to somebody's house, they see two very masculine men together, they may confuse them to say, well, who does what and why is this, and I don't understand what's going on here.
King's message to other victims: seek help.
It's easier said than done, but you got to take that first step. If not, you can end up being dead.
Very serious stuff there. So all three of them believe Monday's murder could have been prevented. They say community leaders and pastors need to openly talk about these issues, these very silent issues, and police also need sensitivity training. I'm also working to understand exactly what officers did in that specific case after the victim reportedly called police that night before he was shot.
Yeah. It seems at the root level that folks need mental health counseling, how to deal with conflict resolution, how to maybe deal with rejection in a peaceful way. You know what I mean? Like teach kids
before it happens.
Before it happens.
Sure. Well, eye-opening, Brittany. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm all about promoting healthy relationships and healing. Everyone within the LGBT plus community deserves to be happy, just like everyone else in the world. And that's why I say on Let's Be Love, let's be the love that you want to see in this world. I want you to exude love and give love, and also be healthy enough to receive that love. So that's my current project. I'd love to hear from you all, and I will be talking to you soon.